know what is lookup, what is filter, and what is search function in PowerApp, and also want to know the difference between them. Hi, this is Krupali from Know How Academy. So let's start with me. So let me tell you what we are going to see in this video. Now let me run the application. Here I have created one application which will display the data of employee, that is employee gender, employee name, and what is the position of that employee. And here I put one drop down. If I select a female, based on that the record is displaying. And let's say if I'm writing here the name of the person, let's say Michelle. So it is displaying the data of the person, that is who is Michelle and all these things. So how I did this? So you can do using lookup as well as you can do using a search and as well as you can do using a filter. So let me tell you how you can do using all these three functions. Let me tell you how you can do all these things with these three functions and what's the difference between them. So let me create a new screen. And let me tell you, this is my data, the employee data here I am using, and this much columns are there in my employee table. Okay, so this is the first name, this is the employee ID, last name of the employee ID, then start date, exit date, position of the employee and everything. But we are not going to use each and every column in our demo. We are going to use only selected column. So I have taken already a screen. And let me design a header of that. So the design of heading is ready. Let me just change the background color of the screen. Now, I'll put the vertical gallery to display the data of the employee. And I'm selecting the data source, that is employee data. And here, let me just select the layout, that is title, body, and third three things. And here first I want to display the employee name. So here I am selecting the first name, then I am selecting the employee salary, or you can say gender. Let's say I'm selecting the employee gender, and the rating, instead of rating I am selecting the position of the employee. Okay, what is the position of the employee? Okay, now let me adjust the size. Now here you can see all the employee data. Now what I want to do, first of all, I want to display the data, or you can say I want to get the data of employee who are, let's say here I am selecting only male. So according to that, male data will be selected. So how can I do that? So let me go to the screen and put the drop down list. And in a drop down list, I am selecting the data source, that is employee data, and what value we want to display. So we want to display the employee gender. Okay. Now see, when you run the employee, the gender male, male, female, female, several times it is coming. But I want only the gender based on the unique value. So gender unique value can be either male or female. This much information should not display. Let's say here this is displaying like that. So instead of that, I want to display only two, that is male or female information. So many things are repeating. So for that, what you need to do? So on that, on drop down item property, you need to select the distinct function. Distinct basically select the unique value from the given column list from the data source. Okay, so let's say the data source I am using, that is table employee, you can say employee data, and then from which column you want to get this. So gender column, I want a unique value. Okay, now let me just run and check it out. So here gender data, I can see that male and female. Now basically what I want to do, when I select a male, only male information will be displayed, and when I select a female, only female information should be bind to the gallery control. So how you can do that? So for that you need to use a filter function. So where you should write a filter function? So whenever the data is changing of the drop down list, this item should be updated. So in a gallery control, there is a property called item property, and by default the item property contains the entire data of the employee. But here I want to filter based on whatever the selection I have made. So for that you need to write a filter function. Okay, filter function, sorry for that, no need to write here filter, and here you need to write the data source name, that is employee data. Now based on what condition you want to filter, so based on the condition you want to filter, that is let's say gender, I want to filter equal to what is the condition, that is drop down 2 dot my this drop down list is a drop down list name is drop down 2 dot selected text dot value. Okay, now let me run and save. Now see, if I select the female, so it is giving me the data of only the female, and when I select the male, it is giving me data only related to male. So now see, what filter function will return? Filter function will return a set of data in a form of table based on whatever condition you have specified. So I have specified the condition, whatever the condition, that is gender equal to whatever the value from that drop down list. So it will return more than one value with exact match if more than one values are there in a data source. Now let me use the lookup function instead of that. Okay, so let me copy that thing, let me duplicate the screen. Now in this screen let me give the drop down name, that is drop down for lookup. Okay, you can give any name, and here in item property what I will use, instead of filter I will use lookup function. Lookup basically will find the data from the table, but now let's see the difference between filter and lookup when I will run the application. So lookup, then employee data, then what I need to do, gender equal to drop down lookup dot selected text dot value. Okay, now let me run the application and let me select the female. So female is coming, and let me select the male. Now see, in previous screen when I run this female, several records are given, but when in this screen when I run and when I select the female, only one record you will able to see. What is the reason for that? The reason for that is lookup function will return only first match from the data, and filter function will return all the match from the data. Okay, now you know the difference between lookup and filter function. Now let's try for the search function. Okay, so let me duplicate this screen, and here we will implement a search. Okay, now search, basically when we use a search, we want to search something based on whatever user is entering the data. So here from that, instead of this, first of all let me write the as it is, that is employee data, the data source name, so all data will bind. Here let me just shrink a little bit and put the text box. Okay, now let me give the proper name to the text box, txt search. Okay, and here I am removing the default text and in hint text, sorry, okay. So now what I need to do, I needed to search based on whatever text I have written. So let me click on this. In item property, I need to use a search function. Search, and here I need to write employee data. Then what text I want to search. So I want to search the text whatever is written in the text box. So text box name dot text. Now after that you want to specify based on which column you want to search from the data. So I want to search data based on first name. Okay, so here when you write it down, you will see you are not able to see the first name, but you are seeing something, the C R. So what is that? This is the schema name of the table column. So this is the schema name of the table column. So how you can identify? Now see, schema name is generally a code, before that underscore and the name of the column whichever you specify. So my first name column here is that. Now if you don't know how you can get the schema name, so right click on that, go to the edit column, and here you can go to the advanced option and you can know the schema name and logical name. Okay, so here not schema name, but here you will see the logical name of the column. Okay, so this is the logical name, you can check it out here, and here the logical name is CR853 first name. Okay, underscore first name. So just write and you can select that CR853 first name and complete the bracket. Okay, now let me run this. Now let's say here actually I need to change the fields here. Okay, that I don't want created, but I want here the first name. I don't want the image. Instead of that, let's say I want email ID, and instead of rating I want to see the employee status, that is active or inactive, whatever. Okay, now let me save and run it. Okay, now let's say here if I am writing Edward, so you can see the data which is related to Edward. Now if I say write A, so in whatever first name A is there, you can check it out. Now let's say W. Okay, so you will able to see the first name of the person who is either start with W, end with W, or it will contain the word W. Okay, and if you write it the entire word, let's say if I am writing group my name, but that data is not exist in that, so you can check it out. So it is just like a search and a search engine. You know, when we write something in a Google, when we start typing, it is giving me a result. So it is behave like that. And one important thing in search is that, let's say you don't want to search based on first column. Sometimes you want to search based on last name also. So let's say here we are not displaying last name, but sometimes we want to display that we want to search data based on last name. So after that you need to write a comma and write the second column based on what you want to search. Okay, so let's say last name is not seen. Okay, here you can. Okay, and complete the bracket. Okay, now let's run that. Let's say Krupali. Okay, but here the last name is not there and first name is not there, and also here if I am changing here something, so I need to update that first name here, and here I want to see the status, and instead of rating I want to display the email. So this thing you need to work while you are just changing something search criteria. Okay, so again I have to set it. So let's say Kristen let's say some first employee name is, let's say last name, it start with B. So it will search in first name as well as last name. Now see BU, but Edward last name may contain B and U. So that's why you are able to see. If you want to check it out, so instead of instead of email, let's say if I want to display the last name here. So now see, okay, now let me run it. So let's say some employee name, first name, let's say K. So let's say Edward is a first name, but it also contains the last name of the employee is BUCK. So it contained like that. So based on this two column, what I have specified, it is searching on that. And also, what's the difference between search and lookup? Search function will return the multiple records based on current matching, and lookup function, as I told you, it will give only one result. Okay, now let's say we want to do a matching like that. Whatever record I have selected, or you can say whatever data I am selected on that drop down list, as well as whatever I am typing on that, based on two things I want to get the data. So what I can do, so let me create a duplicate screen of that. Okay, let me just shrink on it. Okay, whatever the duplicate screen, so this is the screen. Okay, let me give the proper name, search based on gender and name. Okay, now this by two things I want to do. So what I need to do, instead of using individual search, individual lookup or filter, I will use only one filter function. I will specify multiple condition on that. Okay, now search, what it will do, when you write something in a search, whatever text you have written, that text it will match with this column and it will match with this column. But let's say I want to search two things based on XYZ column. So how can I do that? So for that, I have taken this thing screen, and I need to use a filter function. I copy paste it from the demo which I have created, so you can see that. But let me start with the fresh. Okay, so but before that I need to give a proper name to the drop down. So drop down gender. Okay, and this is the txt search name. Okay, and here I am selecting the employee data. Now here in item property, what I need to do, let me just expand little bit. Okay, here I need to use the filter function. Okay, I need to use the filter function. Now filter function, as I mentioned, it will accept n number of condition. Okay, so first of all I need to mention the employee data source, that is the name of the data source is employee. Then you need to write what you need to write. After that I need to do the exact match of that. So for doing the exact match, you need to write gender equal to, then you need to write the whatever value is selected, text dot value. Okay, and after that I need also a condition that the name also with the given things. So when I want to do a multiple condition, so I need to write and then you need to write, there is one function called start with, or you can say contains. Okay, whatever. Now what is the meaning of start with and what is the meaning of contain? Let me just tell you. Now let's say when you write a start with, so it will display the data whose name is starting with the something. Or let's say if you use contain, so it will display the data of the employee who contain a specific word. But let's say I want to search the employee name who start with K, who start with B or KRU, whatever. So for that you need to use the start with function. Okay, so let me go back to the screen which I on which I am working. Okay, and here you need to write a start with, and then you need to write a name of the column, and then you, okay, not name of the column, sorry for that. First of all you need to write the condition, name of the column and then condition. Okay, so start with the first name and then txt search name dot text. Okay, so 2 condition I have mentioned. Let me just run it. And now let's say if I am selecting a female, and again see, whenever I am changing something based on item, the entire field is changing. So again I need to change the here see, when you write something, sometime you can see the logical name, sometime you can see the display name. So don't worry about that. I told you how you can identify the current name. Okay, so let's say here I want to display the first name, here I want to display the gender of the employee, and also here I want to display the employee email. Okay, now you can check it out. Okay, so basically we are searching based on female, and we will write a name. Okay, let me just save it first. Oh, I already saved. Okay, now let me search male whose name start with A. So you can get the person name who start with A. Okay, now let's say I want to search a female whose name start with MI. Okay, so you will able to see the name of the person whose name is start with MI and who are female. So now you may have a question, when to use filter, when to use search, when to use lookup. So let me tell you, let's say you have 2 or 3 set of value. Based on that, if you want to filter something, or based on that you want to get something, at that time it is advisable to use a filter. Now let's say you have a several value and you want to search basically some of the strings. Let's say Krupali, my name is Krupali and I want to search with the KRU. So in that case I advise you to use a search function. And let's say you want only exact match, plus you want only one value. Out of n number of value, you want only the first match. So at that time you need to use lookup function. So I hope you understand how lookup function, how filter function and how search function is working, and what's the difference between that. Thank you for choosing Know How Academy as a source of your IT knowledge. We are always help you to navigate to the tech world. Do not feel hesitate to reach out us. Stay curious and keep learning.